All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to WCS Premier League Group D today. I am schamtoo. Joining with me is axslav. I'm subbing in for Axel Toss. We're going to be getting into our next game, which is going to be Suppy versus Ryung. But before then, let's take a look at where we came from.
That's right. Of course, we saw in the first match of the day, Suppy took out Heart 2-0. And then, of course, Ryung pretty much held Hello Kitty's one-base zones twice in a row. Won that one 2-0 as well. So Suppy's up against another Axiom Terran here in the winners match.
Another Axiom Terran. Well, half of our player are Axiom Terrans today. So Suppy versus Ryung, and it's going to be a pretty awesome match. I mean, Suppy playing so well in the first series of today, so a really heartwarming story so far. I mean, if you look at Team Liquid or just about anywhere else, Ryung and Heart were pretty much destined to get out of here, but now Suppy's already up one game against Heart, so can he beat Ryung?
I think he can. He looked so good against Heart, even in Game 2 where he was looking good, then the one Widowmine just killed all his Banelings and he fell behind by like 40 supply, and it was like a heartbreaking moment. You're like, oh no, he's just getting crushed. And then he somehow makes one of the most epic comebacks ever. Just phenomenal composure, great drop defense. But, you know, he was saying in that player quote earlier that Scar told him Ryung's the strongest player in the Axiom House. So
yeah, it was so amazing to watch that game. Every single time that Suppy was getting into a position where everybody in the audience is cheering, "No, Suppy, back up!" He was already like 2 seconds ahead of us, backing everything back up on creep, just getting ready for the next engagement. He lost a couple of infestors, you know, a little bit out of position here and there, but still he kept in it. The persistence that he had in those games just definitely shows that he's been getting so much better in the last couple of months.
It really does. I mean, like you said, there were a couple times where infestors were overextended, but in a 50-minute game, you can't blame a guy for a couple times losing an infestor or two here and there. Overall, such an amazing performance by him. But I think playing Ryung is going to be a little bit different because, you know, Heart's trademark is he was macroing up very aggressively early on, then he would stay on 3 bases and just try to overwhelm his opponent with crazy macro, crazy drop play, and Suppy's defense was excellent.
That one single Ultralisk that had like 50 kills on it, I think.
Yeah.
It somehow hit the rank of Metamorph, which I have no idea what that even means.
He had 4 Metamorph for Ultralisk at one point.
He had 4 Metamorph. I mean, at that point, they just all turn into the hero. Oh, yeah, the Omega List. Yes. And you know, every single time they die, the Cerebrits bring them back, and that's exactly what happens. It seems like one of our players has disappeared. So he's playing a Ninja Act. I mean, I know I played a Ninja Act before, coming in randomly after the first series, but we're just gonna wait for Ryung to get in here, and then we'll get into game number 2, series number 3, game number 1.
That's right.
I can count.
It was pretty close.
One of those days. But yeah, so what are you thinking about our 4th match of today, which is going to be Hello Kitty versus Heart?
That one is going to be interesting because both of them are so aggressive. But Heart, you know, I'm sure, you know, he's heard about Hello Kitty, especially maybe even seen parts of those matches against Ryung. So he's kind of going to know what to expect. Hello Kitty's going to have to change up his strategies if he wants to beat Heart. Over here, it looks like both the players are ready. We can start up this game. One thing I think Suppy's going to have a little bit tricky time with Ryung. Ryung's late game is very good.
Yes.
And that's where Suppy was winning in this series versus Heart. But this is a situation where Ryung is very happy playing the late game.
All right, guys, we're going to get on to Acheron Wastes here. This is the WCS America Group D. Tweet, tell your friends about it. Go follow Axiom Ryung and EG Suppy on Twitter. I think those are actually their respective Twitter accounts. They're both incredibly amazing players, both playing for very, very awesome teams. So let's introduce our players and the positions. Spawning up here in the top left-hand corner from Team Evil Geniuses, it is our red Zerg player, Suppy. And down here in the bottom right, in the blue trunks, as TB would say, given TB is the sponsor, it is Axiom's Ryung.
This is a map we did not see in Suppy versus Heart. So even though Ryung and Heart are both Axiom Terrans, it seems like unless Suppy changed his mind on what map videos he wanted to use, and what map orders to play on, Ryung must favor different maps than Heart. Which does kind of make sense, because Heart loves that 3-base aggression. This is not the best map to do 3-base, you know, just insane aggression on. You know, the fourth base is a little bit easier to take. And I think it favors someone like Ryung, who just loves really getting into that ultra late game.
And I'm really going to be interested to see how Suppy's going to expand on this map, because Zergs sometimes go back and forth on what third base they want to grab, and I feel like that will always be very indicative of what type of play they're going to go for. You know, we have down here at the 9 o'clock position that third base, which is normally typically grabbed, but sometimes some very heavy 3-base aggression comes out when they go for this nice little 11 o'clock base as well. It's a natural going down already.
There's definitely a lot of options. A lot of options for Zerg players. I think the 3 o'clock or the 9 o'clock base is the most likely third for Suppy. Of course, the reason why a lot of Zergs don't take this base as their third base is because Zergs can't kill these rocks that fast. And you can't
Zerg
really
have to bash their little heads against it, and it takes forever. And
you really don't want to build units early in Zerg either. You want to build nothing but drones. So
drones.
Yeah. Of course, you know, it's a fourth base. That's where Zergs sometimes mix it up. Some Zergs actually take the bottom left as fourth, and some take that base around the corner of the main. Ryung, command center first. Very macro-focused opening. So far, it looks very similar to the first game between Suppy and Hart.
Which I did not catch, so maybe you can let us know, like, what kind of style does Suppy go for on this map so far?
I mean, just, the extractor after a spawning pool, so not insanely fast speed, but it's going to get speed fairly fast and use the speed and self-control the map. And Ryung's doing the same thing Hart did, where he gets command center first, gas, barracks. He's going to get, you know, 1 or 2 Marines, and then he's going to go straight to that factory. There goes a double orbitals from Ryung. Once those mules start landing, his economy is going to get really high.
And you know, that's actually one of those really cool things that I noticed about when Terran started to go for these command center first builds, is that not only does that, you know, give you a very early orbital, but that also sinks your orbital's energy very well. And that just makes it a little bit easier when you're you know, tabbing through all of your structures, everything, using your energy efficiently. You don't have to say, all right, now it's one orbital, now it's the other orbital, you know, 20 seconds later. You just say, both my orbital's energies are ready, which allows you to also have, you know, 50 energy, double scans, or double mule. And that's just at the same time, every single time.
Nice little feature of this opening. Always having everything synced up. And here goes the factory and the reactor, so he's going to follow up with some Hellions. And Hellions are going to be his secondary scout. Of course, the primary scout was that SCV that did make it home.
And speed is about 3/4 of the way done, 2/3, 3/4, somewhere around there. So yeah, he did go for that very early speed, stopped getting gas immediately afterwards, and it's just droning up like a madman. So we can see 9 drones on the way, just about to be produced. And taking a look at that harvest count, 28 to 25, as he's starting to get more queens out to get some of that creep spread.
Looks like Ryung's going to play a little differently than Hart did. Going for some early Hellbats and a starport, so it's going to be a medevac with Hellbat drop against Suppy's third hatchery.
Oh man, gotta love those Hellbat drops. I am a huge fan of Hellbats in Heart of the Swarm. I think they open up a lot of possibilities for Terrans. I mean, of course, every other race will gripe about the fact that 1/1/1 Terran now has like 20 different types of openings. But Hellbat's really fun units, especially later on. You can use them as tanks, well, to tank damage against a lot of Zergling, and they can get healed by medevac, so it forms a very nice synergy that very early on you grab those Hellbats, and then even you can continue using them throughout the entire game.
Suppy needs to identify the fact, especially the fact that it's going to be a reactor on a starport, so it's going to be a 4 Hellbat drop. A very scary opening. If Suppy doesn't have the roaches produced in time, it's not going to help him that he has a roach warren. He's got to get them produced in time, which is something that's not super easy unless you know the exact time you can identify the build. Actually, Baiting Nest going out, Suppy's going for basically a timing build. And this is going to be a great counter to the Hellbat opening because Ryung's not going to have much to defend. It's a single bunker. There's no bio being produced. A third command center. The only thing, Suppy could be stuck in a base race, though, which is where he could go downhill.
Yeah, unfortunately, Zergs actually can't, you know, often hit up at this early stage of the game. So if this doesn't go well, I mean, there could be a liftoff, and we could see possibly Ryung come back by just lifting off and going to a different location on the map, but we'll have to watch. Here come those double medevacs, and they now have both their Hellbats in, both of them, heading straight across the middle of the map. Oh,
and he's going to see the roaches, and Ryung's going to know he's in deep trouble. this amount of roaches, with a player going triple CC, double eBay, and sending their entire army in a drop, means they have no way to defend a frontal roach attack. But on the other hand, Suppy's going to need a way to defend a drop, or he's going to be in trouble as well. Roaches are coming up here, going after the bunker. SCV's trying to repair, but there's no damage up when take these roaches down.
And here come those Hellbats going straight on into the main base as well. They're trying to roast as many drones as possible. And they're doing a pretty good job splitting them up.
Both players trying to defend on two fronts. Double window lines. Take out some of the Banies, but there's more, and there's roaches, and there's nothing to respond to it. Suppy's got to get into main, though, and camp the production.
Oh, the Banelings go off on those SCVs.
Oh, Suppy just continually moving in here, doing more and more damage. Meanwhile, the Hellbats trying to find somebody to kill, but Suppy is pulling all his drones to his third base. He's going to make his stand there, whereas Ryung, I don't think he can defend this. There's too many roaches. The one Marauder gets shredded by Speedlings. Suppy's going to take this game because Ryung can't produce units. As soon as they build, they're instantly slaughtered.
Oh my, Suppy with such great aggression and being able to turn this game on its head. Hellbat drops normally pretty detrimental to a Zerg, but it's not that detrimental as losing your entire main base.
14 drones killed by the Hellbat drops, but Ryung's killed 14 drones. Suppy has killed everything. There's just 2 Widow Mines and a few SCVs. The Widow Mines can take a small dent in the army, but it's not going to be enough. In fact, the main orbital didn't even lift and went down. GG from Ryung. Suppy 3-0 against these Axiom Terrans so far.
You know, I think there's actually something that Blizzard implements in StarCraft 2 that's actually really useful. It's a little tip at the beginning and during the loading screen. It says, if you destroy all of your opponent's buildings, you will win the game. I think Suppy took that to heart and realized Ryung was going to kill all of his drones, but wasn't going to kill all of his buildings. That's kind of the important part here. We can see those roaches just pushing straight up. There's just nothing there. There's just nothing there. There's only 2 Marines in that bunker, and even though he's repairing it as hard as he can, there's just not enough. And there's those Hellbats going into the main mineral line, and yeah, that's doing damage, but just not enough.
It's not even killing that many drones. Suppy, great multitasking. He uses
those drones. Yeah. He split them perfectly while doing this aggression.
Very, very great play by Suppy there. I mean, really, a lot of what it came down to is it was almost it was a counter build, and it was because as a Terran, if you're gonna do a 3CC double eBay and use your whole army to harass, scouting is so important. And Ryung was never able to identify the Roach Horn. If he saw that coming, he would have not gone for the Hellbat drop. He would have just gotten a lot of Widow Mines early and maybe tried to make a defense. But because he had no idea what was coming, it just totally ran him over.
All right, guys, well, we're going to run to game number 2 very shortly. We'll be right back. This is the WCS America Premier League. Stay tuned.